Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Sheets, and this is my blueprint section of my Interaction for Game Design midterm. For the sake of brevity and everybody else's sanity, I have decided to go through the screenshots rather than the actual blueprints of my my level. So I'm going to go through this very quickly, so that we don't take all day on this one. So the sprint system is basically setting a one variable that has it's set to 12,000, and then when the left shift is released, then it sets back to 600. This damage system is very basic. It's for showcase basically, and essentially it just gets the vector length of hook point one, hook point two subtracted, and then as long as that is greater than 500, then it will set the damage to 90. Otherwise, it will set it to 10. This one's an event to probably be better, but it's just for showcase, like I said. And then this checks if both points are unattached. That way, it doesn't just shoot off in space once it multiplies the player by itself in feature code. This checks if hook point 2 is attached and hook point 1 isn't. There's a vice versa of this. Basically, this is just for the individual hook shot rather than the 2-point hook shot that I'll shows later. So this checks if one is attached and one isn't. And then this gets the direction from the first person camera to the hook point 2. This is very important because this gets the direction from the first person camera to the hook point, which basically allows you to be launched in a direction. Or it's set to direction for you to be launched in. And then this determines the velocity. It has a minimum and a maximum. If it overreaches and goes above the maximum, then it will cap at, I think, 3,000. The vector for this is multiplied by the integer and goes straight into the velocity. Stop movement immediately basically just makes it so you don't have to continuously fire the grappling hook to move forward. You're basically canceling out your momentum every single time you shoot this thing twice. So this time you only have to, using this, you only have to fire once in order to move forward. So this basically resets and attaches the grappling hook after launch. All the variables that are set, the vectors, the booleans and whatnot, are set back to 0, and the cable that is drawn is also set to hidden in game. So this is now the two-shot hook point where you fire twice. So basically, it's similar to the first one, except now you're getting the distance between hook point 1 and hook point 2, and then you're multiplying this times, or you're using the get world location, and you're multiplying this in later code, other code, I should say. And it's also using the minimum maximum clamp, as in the first hook point blueprint that I showed. Let's see if I can see. Oh yeah, and it's also using the get unit direction vector with hook point 2 and hook point 1. I just didn't bother to show that because I've already shown it off in another screenshot. And then let's see, the movement stops and then launches the character like I showed in the previous blueprint, resets everything. But this also destroys the actor, so basically every time you fire, there's an actor at the end of it, and it will be left behind unless you destroy it. So here it is destroyed. This is 4.1, and then up here is 4.2. I just didn't bother to show both of them because there's no point. Let's see. We're still in the first-person character blueprint, I should say, for all of this. So there is no... If no grappling hook point is attached when input action is pressed, then it will fire a grappling hook, basically. So if there is one attached, it basically sets everything back to 0, but otherwise it will go through and actually fire one. So in order to fire the cable, basically, what you have to do is you have to get the location of the sphere collision in the first-person gun, which is basically put in a socket, and then it gets the world location of that, and then it gets the area in front of the player camera, so you're basically aiming so you can fire it anywhere. And then this is multiplied down here by I think it's an integer. It is an integer, where basically you can set that, and depending on how big the integer is, it will increase the length of the grappling hook, or how far you can shoot and still attach, basically. So all of this goes into a sphere trace by channel. This is not line trace. This is a sphere trace. It gets the area around where a line trace would, kind of. It's a bit difficult to explain there. But you're getting the start of this and the ending of this with code that I showed before. And then if there's a hit, then this will be marked as true, and then you can also break that hit result. Also up here, it just says that it will freeze if it overlaps anything like a line trace, it will also freeze that point. You can break the hit result, you can get the vector of the impact point, and then you can set that to the hook point that you launched. So now that is set there. Let's see. And then the code after this is just the similar to what I've already shown you. So that's fine. And then this creates the HUD and the inventory, and then there's the open and close right down here with the flip-flop. Let's see. This basically creates the HUD. That's the viewport, yada yada. Same thing here. Remove some parents basically just when you close it. Yeah, it's standard. You have to press I. It gets created automatically though. I should say you have to press I to open it. It automatically is set. Anyway, so this sets functionality, the F button, basically the interact functionality, I should say. So basically press F, this creates a loop using the overlapping actors of a specific collision box within the first person character. Let's see. Interact button. Sorry, there's a lot of code. I'm just trying to remember everything. So essentially this gets the interact interface, and as long as this is a part of what was overlapped with, then it will fire the interact event. What was it? The event dispatcher. And so over here, let's see, we set the visibility of the attached widget on overlap with sphere collision. Okay, so basically what we're getting is once we run into the this was the health widget. Basically, you walked up to it and you could see it. If you walked farther back, you didn't see it. So that's basically what's happening here. You enter it, set visibility, and you end the overlap, then you can no longer see it. Okay, and this applies damage and adds impulse to chaos objects. This is the chaos sphere that I was showing off. This uses a specific field. I think it's a transient field. It's a bit of a strange name, but it was a type of field which basically added radial force. So this, as you can see here, this is actually the first-person projectile, I should say. This is just the field's attached to the first-person projectile, as you can see here. It gets where the hit is, the vector of where it is hit, and then it spawns this actor for a split second. On top of this, this also gets the damage for the cubes as well. So this is spawning a field, and this is also damaging the cubes. Let's see. Yes, this is basically just the main menu level, so this opens it up once it is pressed. Okay, and then this is just this is the score widget. This is just a function that I had to use in order to get the score system working, which is pretty simplistic. There's not really any need to go over it, if I'm being honest. It's just a string. And then, okay, so this is a bit more complicated. This add item to slot is basically the inventory system that I was working with. This is inside the inventory slot itself. You have to make it separate from the inventory. And you can set item info, as you can see here, the name, the icon. There's also an item class, but that isn't really used here. And then a description. You can see here that this one is also counted, and that's the quantity of different items. There isn't any reason to have stacking items with the system that I put up, but it can do that. Let's see. Yeah, this basically just sets up for every single inventory slot. It has the ability to set these different we have you can set any of the individual variables. Sorry, All right, and let's see. Launcher, the interactive interface. What is that? How long is this going on for? Oh boy. Okay. Nah, I gotta do something about this. All right. So this is a general overview of what my code is like. If you want to see the full breakdown of the code, then you can look in the screenshots below in my discussion post or on my ArcStation. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good day.